Okay, so I hope everyone's having a great week. And the last few weeks have been great reading, and I've really learned a lot. So we'll start with chapter 3 with the evaluation section. So evaluation is generally viewed as a necessary evil. And I thought that was kind of funny when I read that because it does require some sobering and often disappointing feedback, as it mentioned, and sometimes may seem impossible to analyze. And I experienced this a little with the pilot teaching. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not the most natural or proficient teacher. And so sometimes it's quite humbling to get the feedback on your lessons. And maybe you think you came up with a great lesson plan, and maybe it wasn't so great to somebody else. So it's good to get that feedback, not always easy, but it's great so you can improve and polish upon that. The next thing was visions. And vision statements are shared expressions of program staff, and the vision describes what you want the program to accomplish and focus as the final result. And I feel like Lizzie and I both came into this with our own vision of what we thought the workshop should look like. And we had visions of information we wanted to share and basic outline for what we wanted to cover and teach. And it's been a really great experience to take both of our visions and incorporate them into one workshop. I feel like having more than one vision really has expanded the possibilities and enhanced and made our workshop and lessons that much better. And so I think having a vision and looking at others' visions is really important to come up with a final outcome that hopefully, will be very beneficial to a targeted audience. So the objectives and evaluations, the objectives of evaluation items are not suitable for every audience. And I think that's important to remember that sometimes what we have in mind is not for a specific audience. And so we need to focus on the objectives that match our program mission and match our targeted audience. Reasons why we collect and evaluate is to gather data. And I think, helps guide our program decisions and helps refine the program process as it's stated. And I think with collecting this data and the evaluations will only help improve upon on the workshops and the lessons that we're preparing. And so it's not always easy to receive these evaluations, but I think it's very beneficial. So the one common question that I really liked was, what are the ways in which participants are prepared to function better in their family life as a result of the program? And so this is really our optimal goal, is how the targeted audience, how our participants will function better, individually will better themselves, but also collectively in their family life, and as a result of what we've been able to teach them. So I really liked that question that we should ask. As far as evaluation data, I think that it's important to focus with the end in mind and what our actual purpose is. So I think having objectives is important. As far as that's concerned, we set out our objectives and work on developing our lesson around that. The guidelines invite family life educators and family scientists to think critically about ethical issues. So I think having ethical principles and guidelines are a critical aspect of family life education, and it helps us really consider what principles will guide our interactions with clients. And as far as, I really like virtue ethics because I think it helps us stop and think what characteristics are important for us personally to embody. And for me, I thought caring, being sensitive, being honest, and supportive and understanding of diversity, being empathetic to others, and being knowledgeable, being able to teach and deliver information that will be beneficial. So stopping and taking a look at the virtues and the characteristics that are important to have are things that we can improve upon and work upon as far as developing our own skills and characteristics when it comes to being a family life educator. I think code of ethics are very important, and it's important to have a professional code anytime you work with families or individuals. I know my husband works in the medical field, and he has HIPAA, which is their ethical code. And even within the church, we have, a basic unwritten, or maybe it is written in the church guidelines, I'm sure. Um, anyway, ethical code of confidentiality within certain callings. So I think it's important that anyone working with families or individuals maintain that code of ethics and have a high standard when it comes to confidentiality and sensitivity, and that we work within the realm that we've been given. Now, the reading, Reconceptualizing the Domain and Boundaries of Family Life Education, I found very fascinating, and I think gave me a lot of information on the different roles and how they all work together and how they even overlap with each other. I like the focus on the family life education content areas, and I think it's important to understand that within family life education, it really encompasses almost every aspect of the entire family system. And so there's not a lot that is not covered, or that we cannot cover as family life educators. It can fall within the 10 content areas. Also, I think the differences that it listed with family life education, family therapy, and family case management were really important, focusing on family life educator, fostering the knowledge and skills, and how family therapies really work more on relational problems and intervention, as well as mental and emotional disorders. And then how family case management is more focusing on the service systems, on enhancing the capacity to protect children and to participate fully in services. And I think that all equals strong, healthy families. And so it's important that we learn to work together, and I think it's important to know and understand the differences and where the boundaries are within these family careers. It also mentioned primary, secondary, and tertiary prevention, and I really like the focus on primary, and we've talked about that before in teaching and learning interactions. And I like this mostly, I think, because I believe that prevention is the best way to go. But I also see and understand the importance of being educated enough to be able to step and help in secondary and tertiary prevention situations. So I would like to be educated enough to step outside of the primary role and work in the other roles also. Part of the ethical guidelines for the 3 fields that I thought were really important is each professional reframing from operating outside his or her own scope of training and preparation. And I think that's important to remember, is if we're not trained or prepared in a certain scope, then we need to be able to pass that on to someone else who can better help the family and who is trained and prepared in that. I think one of the most important things that it focused on at the end and in closing is none is superior to others. All are created pieces of the puzzle in work with families. And I think that's the most critical thing to remember. Whatever aspect is, we're trying to strengthen and help the family and the individual. So making sure that they have the best knowledge, skills, education, support, is really the ultimate goal. So thank you. Hope you guys all have a great week, and I look forward to learning from you. All right, see you later.